Welcome back, young coders. In the last video, we wrote our very first JavaScript code using the alert function. Today, we're moving further to a very interesting part of this series. Today we are going to learn how JavaScript can talk to the webpage itself using the DOM. So, let's get started and learn what actually a DOM is. The DOM stands for Document Object Model. Think of it as a map or blueprint of your webpage. With the DOM, JavaScript can see all the elements of your HTML document and even change them. When a web page is loaded, the browser creates a document object model of the page. The HTML DOM model is constructed as a tree of objects. To work with the DOM, we first need to select elements. There are different ways to do this. We can select an element by its ID name. For this, you need to use getElementById method, and inside brackets you need to write the ID of the element you want to select. Similarly, we can select elements by their class name using the getElementsByClassName method. You can also select elements by their tag name using the getElementsByTagName method of JavaScript. You can even select an element by using CSS selectors with JavaScript querySelector method. Look at the HTML carefully. Now in your browser, right-click and click on Inspect. Now click on Console tab. Here you can write JavaScript directly for testing purposes. If we write document here and press enter, it will return us our whole HTML file. Now let's write document.getElementById, and inside brackets we will write the name of the ID, that is, my ID. You can see it return you the same paragraph element. Now let's write document.getElementsByClassName. Inside brackets, write the name of the class, that is, my class. When you press enter, instead of one element it will return you collection of HTML elements. You can see here all elements are selected with the given class name. You can also select element by tag name. For this, use document.getElementsByTagName method. Inside brackets, write button. You can see it will return you the button element. With JavaScript, you can change the inner content of any HTML using the inner HTML property. Let's see how we can do it. We have already learned how to select any element. Once we've selected an element, we can change its content using the inner HTML property like this. Give a new value and you can see that it changes the content of the selected element. JavaScript can also change an element's attributes. For example, we can swap out the source of an image, so your logo changes instantly. First select your image element, then write .src property and give the URL of the new file. You can see your images change. Just like CSS, JavaScript can style your page. You can change size, background, borders, and more. Here I am going to change the color of this button. So first I have selected the button element and then write .style then .background color, then give the value of the color. And boom, it changes the CSS. Sometimes, you may want to hide something on the page. By setting display to none, the element disappears from view. You can achieve the same using JavaScript. For this, you need to first select the element and then write .style.display and set the value to none. Your element will be disappeared. And of course, we can bring hidden elements back by changing display to block or inline. This technique is very useful to create toggle effects and much more. Let's open the project. In last lesson, we have created an external JavaScript file and link it with our about.html page. Let's change this background image using JavaScript. First, let's write the code in console in the browser to test. Then we will copy that code to our .js file. In our styles.css, you can see that we have given a background image to our body tag. Let's first select the body element. As we have learned, we can select the element using different ways. Let's select using the getElementByTagName method. You can see that this method returns not a single object, but it will always return a collection of elements. If you expand it, you can see that the body element is at position 0. So, here after this method brackets, write 0 in square brackets to select the body element. Then we will write .style and then .background image. After it, we need to write the image URL. Oops, I have written it in wrong way. That's why console is a best way to test your JavaScript code. Let's write it properly. You can see that the background image has changed. Now we can copy that code to our external JavaScript file. I have pasted the code in my JavaScript file. This JavaScript file is linked only with our about.html file. Let's see it in browser. You can see that the code is only changing the background image of our About Us page. Other pages have the background image applied by styles.css file. If you link external JavaScript file to other pages, it will modify its background image as well. Now I want to change the text of this paragraph using JavaScript. In my HTML file, I have added an ID name, note, for this paragraph so that I can select it using the getElementById function of JavaScript. So in my JavaScript file, I will write document.getElementById function. This function always returns a single element and not a collection of HTML elements, so we don't need to write the number of element in square brackets. I am going to change its inner HTML like this. Instead of writing document.getElementById again and again, we can store our selected element inside a variable. Here we create a variable called heading and store the h2 element in it. Now, we can use this variable whenever we want to work with that element. You can create a variable using the var keyword. Then write the variable name without any spaces, then write equals and select the element using any method we have studied today. At the end of this lesson, I also wanted to introduce a very helpful JavaScript function that is Console.log method. The Console.log method is like a secret notebook inside your browser. It shows you what's happening in your code. Here, when we log the heading, the console will display that element in the console of your browser. It is very helpful for testing the JavaScript code. Now it's your turn. For homework, create a variable called myPara and store your coding paragraph in it. Then log it to the console to see it appear. Finally, use your variable to change the text of that paragraph. This will give you hands-on practice with variables, the DOM, and the console. In this video, we have learned: what is the DOM? Ways to select elements using JavaScript, changing HTML content, attribute and style of elements, hide and show elements using JavaScript. We also learned about storing elements in variables, and in the last we also studied how JavaScript Console.log function works. In the next video, we will learn about events and functions in JavaScript. See you there. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our exciting lessons.